Some houses are built to shelter families, and others are built to trap souls. Today, we're exploring a story that blurs the line between the two. A story about a house that hides a room that shouldn't exist. A room no architect ever designed, and a door no one should ever dare to open. Our story begins with the Malik family. They thought they'd found their dream home on the quiet outskirts of Lahore. It had everything. A sprawling backyard for the kids, a peaceful neighborhood, and a price that seemed almost too good to be true. And as it turns out, it was. The first hint that something was wrong came from their 12-year-old daughter, Hania. One evening, she casually asked her mother, "Mama, who's the woman standing in my closet?" Her parents, Amina and Farhan, exchanged a knowing smile. A child's imagination, they thought. Amina played along. "What does she look like, honey?" Hania pointed to a bare corner of her room. "She's just standing there, watching me." Amina and Farhan laughed it off. Kids see all sorts of things. But later that night, as Amina was putting Hania to bed, she glanced at the corner Hania had pointed to. A sudden, inexplicable chill ran down her spine. The laughter died in her throat when she realized the unsettling truth. There was supposed to be a closet in that corner of the room. In fact, there was nothing there but a blank wall, covered in faded floral wallpaper. The next morning, Hania's innocent comment still lingered in their minds. A sense of unease had settled over the house. Farhan, trying to be the rational one, decided to investigate. He walked over to the wall Hania had pointed at and tapped it gently with his knuckles. The first few taps were solid, just as you'd expect, but then... thud. Thud. A distinctly hollow sound echoed back. It was undeniable. There was empty space behind that wall. Intrigued and a little unnerved, they began to carefully peel back the corner of the old wallpaper. It came away in dry, brittle strips, revealing not plaster, but dark, aged wood beneath. As they tore away more of the paper, the outline of a door began to emerge. It was an old, crude wooden door, its surface cracked and splintered with age. And the most disturbing part, it was sealed shut with thick, rusty nails hammered in from their side, as if someone had been desperate to keep whatever was inside from ever getting out. Farhan immediately went to find the house's blueprints, which they had received during the purchase. He spread the large, crinkling papers across the dining table, tracing the layout of the second floor with his finger. The master bedroom, the two smaller bedrooms, the bathroom, everything was there, exactly as it should be, except for one glaring omission. According to the official architectural plans of the house, the space behind that wall simply didn't exist. There was no room, no closet, no anything. It was just a solid, structural wall. That night, an oppressive silence fell over the house. The family went to bed, but sleep didn't come easily. At exactly 2:13 a.m., Hania was jolted awake by a faint sound. It was coming from inside the wall. 3 soft, deliberate knocks. Knock, knock. She held her breath, her heart pounding against her ribs. Maybe she had imagined it, but the next night, it happened again. Same time, 2:13 a.m. 3 soft knocks. Night after night, the mysterious knocking continued, a ghostly metronome counting down to something unknown. The family was on edge. They tried to ignore it, to reason it away, but the sound was undeniable. It was a call from the other side of the wall. Curiosity, mixed with a growing sense of dread, gnawed at them until they couldn't stand it any longer. They had to know what was in there. One afternoon, Farhan armed himself with a crowbar and a hammer, with Amina and a frightened Hania watching from the doorway. He began the arduous task of prying the door open. The old nails groaned and screeched as they were pulled from the wood. With one final, powerful heave, the seal broke and the door swung inward with a low, mournful creak. A blast of frigid air rushed out of the opening, so cold it felt like stepping into a walk-in freezer. It carried with it the musty smell of dust and decay, an odor of a place that had been sealed away from the world for a very, very long time. Farhan cautiously shined a flashlight into the darkness. The beam cut through the gloom, revealing a small, windowless room, completely bare. No furniture, no boxes, just for empty walls. Except for one thing. In the center of the dusty floor sat an old, wooden rocking chair, and as they watched, frozen in the doorway, the chair began to move. Slowly, rhythmically, it rocked back and forth on its own. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they noticed something else. Scrolled into the thick layer of dust on the floor, and what looked like faint chalk, were 3 words that made their blood run cold. She never left. And just as they read the message, a voice, a woman's soft, ethereal whisper, echoed from the darkest corner of the room. It was faint but clear, and it said, "Close the door." Before she wakes up, panic seized them. Farhan slammed the door shut with all his might, the sound booming through the silent house. He didn't bother with nails this time. He grabbed a heavy bookshelf and shoved it against the door. They knew this was something beyond their understanding, something they couldn't fight on their own. The next morning, they called a local Malvi, a religious scholar known for dealing with spiritual afflictions. When the elderly man arrived, his calm demeanor was a small comfort. But as he stepped into the hallway, his face grew grim. He could feel the heavy, malevolent energy that clung to the air. "What have you done?" he asked, his voice low and serious. He demanded to know who had opened the door. Farhan, trembling, raised his hand to confess, but before a single word could escape his lips, the Malvi froze. His eyes widened in absolute horror as he stared. Not at Farhan, but at the space just behind him. "She is standing right behind you," it choked out. Instinctively, the whole family spun around. There was nothing there, just the empty hallway. But when they turned back, the Malvi was pointing a shaking finger at the floor by Farhan's feet. They all looked down. The light from the hallway lamp cast long, dark shadows of Amina Hania and the Malvi across the floorboards. But where Farhan's shadow should have been, there was nothing. It was just gone. 2 days later, the Malik family fled the house, leaving most of their belongings behind. They didn't look back, but as they drove away for the last time, Hania looked out the rear window. Her scream made them slam on the brakes. The newly purchased bookshelf they had used to block the door was now standing back in its original place, and the small, sealed door was wide open again. And from the darkness within, they could just make out the silhouette of the rocking chair, still moving back and forth, back and forth. No one knows for sure who the woman was, or why she was trapped in that room. Some say she was an original owner of the house who met a tragic end. Others whisper that she was something far older, an entity that was sealed within the walls when the house was first built. The house has been sold several times since the Maliks left, but no family ever stays for long. They all report the same thing, the faint sound of knocking coming from an empty wall at 2:30 a.m. every single night. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What secrets are hidden within the walls of our own homes? If you found a door that wasn't on any blueprint, a door that was nailed shut for a reason, would you dare open it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, some doors are better left unopened. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more chilling stories. Stay safe and check your walls.